Hello everybody, I have returned once again with my SummerSlam 2011 review. I did say I was going to do a Money in the Bank 2011 review, but I decided not to. But I'll talk about that a little bit later. Right now I'm going to talk about SummerSlam 2011. I thought this was a pretty good show and a decent follow-up to Money in the Bank. It had the best, not the best, but one of the best Divas matches. Yeah, I was looking at my teeth. They felt funny. One of the best Divas matches I've seen in years. Which really doesn't take much, but, well, let's go into it. The show, that is, not just the Divas match. The opening match was Kofi, Kingston, Rey Mysterio, and John Morrison versus the Heels, Alberto, Del Rio, R-Truth, and The Miz in a 6-man tag match. A good way to open a pay-per-view, and apparently, Rey was having trouble with his knees, and as was obvious by the match, he was working very ginger, moving a bit slower, not doing as much as he usually would in this type of match, but a perfectly acceptable opener, 2.5 stars. The next match was Mark Henry versus Sheamus. I really wasn't looking forward to this match because I don't typically look forward to Mark Henry matches, but I thought this was perfectly fine. Better than his match from the month before against the Big Show. I thought it was actually, I thought it was average for anybody else, but for Mark Henry, I thought it was a pretty decent match, and it really made Mark Henry seem, intimidating. He won the match by basically, the match was the typical fare with, Sheamus getting, token offense in, and then Mark Henry hitting him with like a few moves and just destroying him. But the finish of the match I thought was really good because it made it made Sheamus, or it made it easy to sympathise with Sheamus. You wanted him, because what happened was Mark Henry basically just grabbed him and ran through the guardrail on the outside with him, and Sheamus was laid out, and Mark Henry got back into the ring, and fans were clapping for Sheamus to get back in the ring, and you did want him to get back in the ring, but he didn't make it, and you're like, oh, and you're like, well, Mark Henry must have really fucked him up. So yeah, 2 stars for that. Above average Mark Henry match. Quite fun. Next we had Kelly, the champion, the Divas champion, versus Beth Phoenix in a singles match for the WWE Divas Championship. I really was expecting the typical Divas match at this point, as you get every year, or every pay-per-view really, which is like a 30-second match where someone wins. It doesn't really matter. It's completely trivial because nobody cares. But this match, I actually started getting into it. Beth Phoenix, I was hoping it would get a bit longer than the usual Divas matches in 4 minutes, but I think it went something like 8, and I was surprised. It was really good because you had Beth Phoenix beating down Kelly. Kelly still got her moves in, but she was selling really well, and ended up rolling up Beth Phoenix for the surprise win. And yeah, but I mean, it was amazing for a Divas match with the WWE. They gave it time. There wasn't like any, nothing off the top of my head. I can't think of any botches off the top of my head. Not that it really matters all that too much, but I thought it was still a pretty fun match. I was into it. The crowd got into it by the end. When Kelly won, the crowd actually popped for it, as opposed to just sitting on their hands like they usually do. So that was something. 2.5 stars for that. Next match was Wade Barrett versus Daniel Bryan. Obviously, I wanted Daniel Bryan to win because he's one of my favourite wrestlers in the thing, but this match was I knew it was going to be good, and it was good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was pretty back and forth, but Wade Barrett ended up winning the match with a very Nigel-esque lariat off the top rope, as in Daniel Bryan's crotched on the top rope, and he hits him with the lariat, and then hit him with his wasteland finisher. Got the pin, and I was surprised by that because I was expecting Daniel Bryan to win, but at the end of the day, Daniel Bryan has to do something until Mania, and if it is feud with Wade Barrett, sure. I mean, if Daniel Bryan's got the Money in the Bank, I assume he's going to be winning the title at some point. So why not give Wade Barrett a bit of a rub while he's on his way there? I'm fucking trying to fix my hair. It's ridiculous. But 3.25 stars for that match. I thought it was quite fun. Next match we had was Randy Orton versus Christian for the World Heavyweight Championship. I wanted Christian to win. I've seen Randy Orton with the title enough to last me 3 lifetimes. Edge came out before the match and he said, "You've become a little bitch, Christian. Get your shit together. I'm sick of you being a bitch. You'll always be my best friend, but you're a bitch. You've been acting like a bitch ever since Randy Orton beat you. But I agree, you were screwed out of the title the first time when you only got the fight where you had to defend it 5 days after the ladder match, etc., etc." So Christian was seeming a bit funny during the match, and he was fighting really hard. But then, and the match was quite fun. They did some amusing spots, and Christian looked competitive. But at the end of the match, Christian went for the concerto, or around the end of the match. Well, all right, last 5 minutes of the match, Christian went for the concerto, one-man concerto, and spat in Randy Orton's face. Randy Orton got out of the way, and then just beat the shit out of Christian for like 5 minutes straight. Then had the steps in the ring, the metal steps. Christian hit him with a kendo stick, and Randy Orton just like RKO'd him on the steps when he went off the ropes at Orton, and it made Christian look like a real bitch. I thought it was a really good match, but I really didn't need to see Randy Orton win the match. I guess it's better than just having... I mean, here's the thing. They had Christian win the title last month just so he could lose it again this month. I don't get it. If you wanted Randy Orton to win that badly, if you wanted him to be the champion, why not keep the title on him at Money in the Bank, and then have him just retain it here? I mean, it just seems ridiculous. And Randy Orton's now a 9-time world champion. That's like at least 4 times too many for me. And next we had 4 stars for that match as well. 4 stars for Randy Orton versus Christian. I thought it was a good match, all things considered. But I'm just getting really sick of seeing Randy Orton be Randy Orton. I don't get how he's supposed to be a face when his whole gimmick is raging cunt. But whatever. Next match we had the main event, the match everyone was looking forward to, which was CM Punk and John Cena. Each being the WWE champion, but wrestling to be the undisputed WWE champion. And I thought this was great. This would make the title worth something, because you'd have one champion and it would be called undisputed for a bit, and maybe it would make it seem like it's worth a bit more, even though technically it isn't, because Punk was the champion. He beat Cena for it. Cena just beat someone who wasn't champion. But whatever. And I'll talk about why I didn't review Money in the Bank. There was a lot of arguing on the internet about whether it was a 5-star match or whether it wasn't. Like, I don't think it was 5-star match. It was only 4 3/4, or it was only 4.5. And you know what? I thought to myself, I think this is a 5-star match, and I still do. I thought it was a 5-star match. But that's my opinion, and I don't give a shit about what anybody else thinks. I'm not here to validate your opinion, and I really didn't want to do a Money in the Bank review where I was going to do that, especially while the topic was still fresh in everyone's mind, where I was going to get into a debate with people over how many botches were in the match, or how many spots didn't make sense to them, or I didn't want to start nitpicking the match over whether or not it was a 5-star match with people I don't care about their opinions about. Just like you shouldn't care about mine, really. But I mean, obviously you do if you're watching the thing. But I thought it was a 5-star match, and I really didn't want to waste 5 minutes of my time on the internet arguing whether it was a 5-star match, or a 4 3/4-star match, or a 4.5-star match. It really wasn't that important to me. But I knew, had I come on and done a review and said that it was a 5-star match, that's what would have happened. But I've said it now, but I don't want to argue about it. This match, on the other hand, I got the same kind of feeling I did from the first one. It wasn't as strong, just like the crowd heat wasn't as strong for it, where I wanted to see CM Punk win. I wanted to see him win. I was worried he wouldn't, because he'd won last month and I would have Cena win this month. But I'll talk about the match. It was really fun. I think it was actually, at some points, better than the first match they had. By the end of it, I didn't think it was, but I think what they were building to was much better. I thought it was... they done spots in the first match, and then they played off those spots that had happened in the first match in the second match. Like, CM Punk doing the knee and then going for the bulldog. They fed off of that. They had Punk do the knee, but then Cena reverse it into his, whatever that suplex thing he is, the protoplex, that he used to call it. And, other things like, they were doing lots of hold and counter hold, like, CM Punk got him in the Koji clutch, and then Cena reversed it into the STF, and then Punk got him back into the Anaconda Vice, and then Cena reversed into the crossface. I thought that was all really good stuff. Another thing with Cena was going for his shoulder barge, and Punk did the running knee to his face. I thought that was really well done. But at the end, I felt it kind of fell a little bit short by the end of the match. I thought it was leading to something, and Punk hit Cena with the go to sleep and pinned him. But Cena had his foot on the rope, but Triple H countered, and then I thought, oh, the match is going to get restarted. But then Triple H went, nah, he's champion now. So Punk's running around celebrating. Cena fucks off. Kevin Nash. I hope that name rings a bell. Kevin Nash came out to the ring from the crowd and powerbombed Punk. What? Alberto Del Rio then came out and hit Punk with his Shining Wizard type thing, and pinned Punk and became the champion. So they'd been trying to make the WWE title seem worth something for a while. And then you have Alberto Del Rio, who I wanted to see win the title at Mania, but he didn't. Win it somewhere I didn't want to see him win it, which was beating Punk for it, and making the title seem worthless because you just had this great match. Well, it was already slightly devalued by the fact that CM Punk pinned Cena with his foot on the rope. So a complete dusty finish. And then you have Kevin Nash come out, powerbomb Punk, and then Del Rio finish off Punk and pin him for the title. There's a lot you can do with this from this point forward. You can have Cena say, I should still be the champion because my foot was on the rope. You can have Punk say, bullshit finish. You know, you had help and I would already wrestled a match. Conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to Raw, really. And I hope CM Punk... one of the things I'm hoping for with this is that CM Punk does the full face turn and feuds with Alberto Del Rio, and maybe with Cena on his side against a team of Alberto Del Rio and Kevin Nash. I think that would actually be quite good. But I don't think that will be exactly what happens. But I do think it will be interesting to see if CM Punk becomes just full on face and feuds with Del Rio. Because I think that would be quite good and would lead to a bunch of good matches. Anyway, I give the show... CM Punk versus John Cena, 4.25 stars. Not quite 4.5, not quite 4, not quite 4.75, not quite 5, whatever. Overall, I'd give the show an 8 out of 10. I thought it was really good. There was nothing bad on it, and there was 2 quite good matches there. So, 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Fuck off.